So hello and welcome to Friday Focus Careers in Sport. And it's a massive pleasure today to have Mark Ormrod in the house. So Mark, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. Good to
we always have a wave. That's it. So if anybody doesn't know, Mark, I'll just be honest how it is. Mark, you were the first triple amputee to come out of Afghanistan. That's right, isn't it?
That is correct. Yeah, it's not the title we all strive for, but it's the one I was given.
It's not a title we strive for, but it's one. Yeah, it's one you had. And to be fair though, mate, it's one that you've made the best, and your resilience and your hard work has made something amazing out of it. So former Royal Marine, but still heavily involved in the Royal Marines. We know that. Invictus Game athlete, peak performance coach, author, motivational speaker. Mark, how did you get to where you are today?
Right. So what feels like a very long time ago now, when I was about 15 and a half, I was coming up to the end of my compulsory education, GCSE exams on the horizon, and I just had this epiphany when I was walking down the school corridor that in about 6 months after these exams were done, I had to either go on to further education or go out into the big bad world and get a job. And it kind of, I don't know where it came from, it just hit me. And I was like, I need to make some decisions because we haven't got that long left. So I went home and I started thinking about my future and what it was I wanted to do. And although I did okay in school and I actually enjoyed it, I knew that college and university wasn't really for me. I knew I wanted to go out and start earning money at a young age, but I also knew that I didn't just want a job. I wanted a career, something that I could go into early and do for a long time and work my way up a ladder and grow as a person, as an individual, gain some skills, some qualifications, some work experience, some life experience, and that in my gut was where I wanted to be. That's what, when I was thinking about it, that's what my gut told me. You need to go out and get a career as opposed to a job, and it needs to push you and make you grow. So I sat down and thought about it, and I guess just because of who I am and my personality, I needed a job which I would, I guess, class as like the alpha jobs, police, fire brigade, military, that kind of dangerous, adrenaline-fueled stuff. Narrowed it down eventually to the military, and then narrowed it down further to the Royal Marines because I had an uncle who had served 22 years and finished his career as a captain. So I got the paperwork, got it all signed by my parents because I was under 16, so I had to get permission. Carried on with school, finished up my exams, and I think just after my exams, I got the call to do what's called a potential Royal Marines course, a 3-day beat up, basically, where you go in front of the Royal Marines and you get hammered for 3 days, and that is their opportunity to see if you're ready to start commando training, and it's your opportunity to decide whether this career is actually for you after a little taster. So I went and did that, and I was fortunate. I didn't get injured. I was successful, came home, was given a training program, and then just stuck to it, to the letter. Every run, every pull-up, every press-up that they told me to do, I did it. I didn't do any less, didn't do any more. I did exactly what they told me. Eventually got the letter saying, we'd like you to start training in February 2001. So just waited around and trained for a little bit. I'd done, finished school then, got 10 GCSEs, 9 A to Cs, 1 D in geography. So I could have gone into further education, but my heart was set on a career in the Royal Marines. Fast forward a couple months, February 2001 rolls around, and I begin Royal Marines training as one of 64 men of 804 troop. Now the training, if you did it all in one hit, and if you factor in Easter leave, summer leave, Christmas leave, and all that stuff, it's the best part of a year. I managed, fortunately, to do it in one hit. I managed to make the grade every time. I never got any injuries. Went through in one foul swoop. So eventually passed out October 2001, was trained immediately to go to Afghanistan in 2002 on something called Operation Jacana. Didn't go in the end. The whole thing was scaled back, and it was, from what I understand, more of a special forces task. So we didn't go. 2003 rolled around. I deployed to Iraq on something called Operation Telic 1. Came back from that in one piece, but was a little bit disappointed in what I'd experienced. I spent 3.5 months in Iraq, never fired a round, never even seen a firefight. And I thought, well, rather than all this training, put myself through this, got myself to this level and this standard, been put in a war zone and not done anything.
Yeah.
So I came back a little bit gutted and downhearted. A little while after that, my first daughter, Kessie, was born in early 2005. So I decided to leave. I thought I'll serve my 5 years. I've been to war, got my Green Beret. I've done it all in that short space of time. I can leave now at 22, I believe I was, and start something new. Now I've got a family. I've squeezed quite a lot into those first 5 years. I'll leave. So I did. I left January 2006. I had separated with my daughter's mother at that point. Was working as a nightclub doorman and not really going anywhere. So I took what little money I had and I accessed the money that we were entitled to through the military re-education system. And I went to South Africa and I spent 6 weeks out there training as a bodyguard. But yeah, I came back, I passed the course, came second in my course. The only person who beat me was my roommate, who was actually a pilot, so he was a lot cleverer than I was. Came back, started looking for work, and I just couldn't get it. I mean, there was plenty around, but I just didn't know anybody to get my foot in the door. So the short version of this story is, after about a year as a failed civilian, I rejoined the Marines early 2007, went straight into pre-deployment training for a deployment to Afghanistan, this time on Operation Herrick. And September 7th, 2007, we deployed. I spent about 3.5 months out in Helmand province, looking after the locals, fighting the Taliban. But 3.5 months into it, on Christmas Eve, 2007, we all got tasked with going out on another foot patrol. And we'd done loads of these to this point, so it was nothing unusual. We knew what we were doing. We're just going to go out on another patrol, then have a couple of days off for Christmas. On the tail end of that patrol, just as we were about to finish up, and this is, again, the short version of it, we were giving cover for another group of lads that we were out with on the ground to make sure they could get back into our camp safely. And I went to take up a fire position to protect them. And as I went to get on my stomach, I knelt on and detonated an improvised explosive device, which it took off both my legs above the knee and my right arm above the elbow instantly, which was pretty horrendous, as you can imagine. But so this improvised explosive device was an anti-personnel mine, which, if you don't know, it's designed basically to blow your foot off and injure you. So then all your friends come to help you and give you first aid, and then the enemy will pop over the hill with an AK-47 and wipe everyone out. Right. But on top of the anti-personnel mine, they stacked the warhead of a 107mm Chinese rocket, which would take the side of a house off, like a shoulder-launched rocket. And you've knelt on that? I knelt on it, yeah, and set it off right underneath me. And it just ripped off both my legs, clean off above my knees. And like I said, my right arm was still attached. We had to rip it off later. But yeah, it just left me in what was it? Eventually a 12-foot crater in the ground. So, I mean, that is, a life-changing event. Calling it a life-changing event is more than that. So after such a major chapter in your life starting, because let's look at it as a new start, that must have your motivation to push your boundaries and keep moving forward. How did that come about? How did that come about? What was the thing that went, do you know what? This ain't the end of it. This is how it goes. I'm going to push forward. I'm going to just make the most of where I am in this new chapter. So the thing for me was in the first couple of weeks when I was in hospital, I remember thinking to myself when I had a bit of time on my own, as bad as this is, I'm still a Royal Marine. I am still a member of that group of elite soldiers, and I still have a certain standard that I hold myself to, both in uniform and out of uniform. And now that I've lost 3 limbs, I have to hold myself to that standard going through my rehab. And I made it about more than me. You know, I said it wasn't just for me, it was for the Royal Marines. Because I had lost 3 limbs and I was the first, there was a lot of media interest around it. And, you know, that was overwhelming. All the media that wanted stories and they wanted to talk to me. And no one said this to me. It was just my attitude was like, I'm representing the Royal Marines here. Do you know what I mean? They're elite. They've got 350 years of elite history. I'm not letting the side down. So even though I'm the first and no one's dealt with any of my injuries before, we're going to get through that. And we're going to show the world what the Royal Marines are about and why we are world renowned for being the best. Because we just take what we're given, we improvise, we adapt, we overcome, we figure ways around it, we go through it, over it, round it, we make it work. You know, and I just put that analogy with my rehab.
And that's where you got to with it. That's amazing, mate. Absolutely amazing. So you've got 11 Invictus Games medals. Is that right?
Yes.
But you did your first, so you got your first medal, Victor. What did that feel like, mate? Because, you know what I mean? You've gone through this journey, it's a journey. Do you know what I mean? It's a mad journey. And you've just come up on stage. You've got your silver medal. Is that silver?
It was, yeah.
So you got your silver medal. What was that like?
Do you know what, mate? I'll be honest with you, and I haven't shared this with a lot of people. So before the rowing, I did the hand biking.
Yeah.
And on the first race, my bike broke. When I pushed forward, literally off the line, my handlebars slipped, and then I went round the corner and I crashed out. On the second race, which was the wacky races time trial when everyone's racing, I was the only person with one arm. So I came 8th, I think, out of 12, which I was happy with because I was the only one with one arm.
Yeah.
But still, like, I need to do better. So I thought, okay, I went home that night, back to my hotel, and I thought, we got the rowing. You know, I've been hammering this, I'll kill it. So I got out there in the morning, and I'm sat on my rower, and I look to my right, and there's a guy with no feet and no hands, below knee, below elbow. There's a triple amputee beside him, a double amputee beside him, but he had all his fingers were missing down. He had maybe fingers like that on one hand and like that on the other. So I thought, okay, that's fair because he can't grip very well. The 2 blokes next to them, triple amputees. Then I look at the other side and there's a guy with an above knee and a below knee, but 2 arms. And I was like, and I didn't know any of this stuff worked about the classification and everything, but eventually, I came second in both the races, but afterwards we found out when my coaches went and asked the officials that he was in the wrong races. He should have been the classification above. So I'm like, sweet, I've got 2 gold medals then, let's go get them. But they wouldn't let me have them. Right, so I took the 2 silvers, and you know, as great as it was to have medaled, I was just like, hold on a minute, I've trained for a year for this. Technically, I've beat everyone in my classification.
Yeah.
Let me get my golds, but they wouldn't let me have them. And then the next day, in the swimming, the same thing happened. You know, a guy with 2 arms was in the swimming pool. He said he could only swim with 1. He swam with 2. We contested it. Everyone saw him swimming with 2. He played wheelchair basketball the next day. And again, I got 2 bronzes in that, and I should have had 2 silvers. But again, you know, I wasn't allowed to claim what I'd won. So I got a little bit miffed, you know, and bizarrely, on the night of the closing ceremony, I was having a little bit of a temper tantrum with myself, you know, having a bit of a wobbly and a hissy fit. And I was like, I'm not going to the closing ceremony. I'm just going to watch Die Hard and get a pizza and a beer and chill out. But my family were with me in a different hotel. So I thought, well, they're going to be there. I'm going to have to show up. And I jumped on the bus last minute, went down to the closing ceremonies. And fortunately, I did, because each year they give out 2 awards. One is for the overall best team, and one is for the overall best athlete of every country, of every athlete that's been there. And I was filming the documentary at the time. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've got this gimbal and this GoPro, and I'm trying to get footage and this, that. And they talk about this award, and I didn't know what it was. It was my first games, and all my attention's on this camera, making sure I get good footage. But I'm listening to what they're saying, and I hear the words Royal Marine, and I'm like, brilliant! One of our lads has got this award now. So I'm getting ready to see where they come from, to film one of the lads going up. And they start reading this bio off, and I'm like, that's my bio. They're talking, I'm the triple amputee. They're talking about me. And I ended up luckily getting this award for, I think it was called the Most Outstanding Athlete Award or something, which was amazing. It kind of, for me, it made up for the injustice of the other events. Because no one told me I was going to get it. So I was literally not going to turn up to the event. And then they would have called me and I would have been back in my hotel. So
it would have been like the Oscars, you know, where they sort of pan around and you'd be sat there with a pizza watching Die Hard.
No, I know. So it was just pure luck that I decided
Mate,
to be a grown-up.
That's epic. Good for you. So listen, the thing I've got to say is that I guess looking at stuff, that first games, you got your silvers, you got your awards. It would have been easy to turn around and go, do you know what? I've done that now. I've done the Invictus Games, you know, a bit like the in-betweeners, you know, get Invictus Games, completed it, thank you very much, and walked on. But this is one of the things that I take from listening to some of the things you say, is that that's not what you wanted to do. Because what was your goal?
My goal was gold medals all day long.
So what did you do?
This is the thing. So one of the things that they hammered into me, hammered into everybody during the training for the games is, it's not all about the medals. Everyone's got their own individual version of success. And I agreed, but I said my version of success is winning lots of gold medals. I don't want silver, I don't want bronze, I just want some gold. And then if I get that in the first games, I'll do a mic drop, walk away, and I'm done.
Yeah.
So it worked out better in the end, because I didn't get those golds in the first one. It massively motivated me to go back and get them the second time round.
Yeah.
The beauty was the second time round, I knew how things could go wrong. You know what I mean? With the classifications and stuff. So me and my coaches were on it from the beginning. We made sure that, you know, people that were in our race were supposed to be in there. I went back, and I think that year I got 4 golds, a silver, and 2 bronzes.
Outstanding.
So it worked out better in the end.
But doesn't that show something? See, is that one of the things we talk about on here? Because obviously, SCL, we have like our values that we kind of make, you know, we think are important, and we kind of try to instill those values on our students. Because I say to my students is that in education, I'm your full stop. You know, for a lot of you, this is where it ends, and then you go out into the world, and the last person in education you've had that contact with is me. And one of the things I want to do is when you go into the world, you're a proper, decent person. And what you've just shown there for me is you're going, right, I've gone and I've got a medal, silver, bronzes, first time around. But like life, to get that success, it's not about entitlement. It's about resilience and going around and going, do you know what? I can get these golds. So what I'm going to do is apply myself, work. How hard did you work, Mark?
So here's the thing, right? So where I am now, this is my garage, AKA the man cave, AKA the amputee torture chamber, right? I would be in here at least for a year, 4 mornings every week at 5 o'clock in the morning, doing cardio on my bike and whatever I can. Then I've got a full-time day job with the Royal Marines charity, so I'd work my day job. You know, got 3 children. I'd do my strength and conditioning in the evenings, and then on the weekends we had to travel all over the country: Bristol, Bath, Manchester, Liverpool, all over the place to go to rowing camps, swimming camps, hand biking camps. So I'm clocking up thousands of miles on the weekends when I should be with my family, after already having horrendous, you know, physical weeks of work and training. Because I was that determined. I just wanted to go there, get those gold medals, and then stop. And what I did, I mean, this was a real good motivator for me. I took the silvers and the bronzes from the first games, and I had a friend of mine. He got an Invictus flag, and he made a big frame, and he put the 2 silvers and the 2 bronzes in, but at the top he left 2 spaces where gold medals should have been. And literally right here where my vision board is, I propped up against the wall my cardio areas right behind us. So every morning at 5, all I could see was that frame with 2 missing spaces where the gold medal should be.
Yeah,
So when when you come in my garage in the winter,
yeah,
it is Baltic. You sit there like this for 20 minutes. It was freezing, and I would just stare at that thing and get myself, when I didn't want to train, didn't want to get on the bike, didn't want to do HIIT training for 40 minutes. I would just stare at it and go, I'm filling the holes. Those gaps are getting filled, and I'm going to outwork everybody that I come up against next year.
Where is your determination then? How do you generate that determination, that mindset, like you say, all the time to go, I'm going to get up, get in my garage at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, start training before work? Where do you get that? Where's your determination, your mindset?
So the mindset, that was battered into me when I was training for the Marines.
Yeah.
You got to bear in mind, I'm 17 years old. I'm going through the hardest, longest regular forces training in the world. I'm continually cold, wet, hungry, sleep deprived, pushed to do things that I don't think the human beings are capable of doing, but then managing to achieve them. And week after week after week, unraveling this mindset of actually, I'm capable of a lot more than I think I am. But my whole reason why that I do anything is to become what I like to call the ultimate version of myself and fulfill my potential. Because I just think it's madness how much we as human beings are capable of achieving.
Yeah.
But for some reason, whether it's people's upbringings, their beliefs, society, the media, whatever, our default is, I can't do that, and negativity.
Yeah.
My belief is, if I wanted to be a billionaire, right, I'd look at Bill Gates, Elon Musk, all those guys, and I would just figure out what their mindset was, what physical actions they took to achieve it, what mental actions they took to achieve it, how they lived their life, how they were disciplined, what they embraced, what they got rid of. And if you follow that blueprint, you're going to get similar results.
Yeah.
When I got injured and I was the first triple amputee, I found another triple amputee in America who was doing the things I wanted to do. So I went and met him and he trained me. And then lo and behold, I was able to achieve a similar level of independence to what he was, because I copied him physically and mentally. And it opened my eyes, and I thought, well, anyone can really achieve anything. You want to be the best footballer that you can be, go and find the best footballer you know and ask them how they did it and copy what they do.
Yeah.
But the problem is, a lot of people, this sounds a bit negative, but a lot of people aren't prepared to go through what it actually takes. You want to be the next David Beckham, you've got to go through what David Beckham went through, training 12 days a week. Do you know what I mean? 45 hours a day. Not out partying with your mates on the weekends, not letting the girlfriend distract you, or the lure of spending all your money on a fancy car and getting distracted. You just got to be focused the whole time.
It's a massively incredible inspiration to listen to somebody like yourself, know what you've gone through and seen what you've gone through, and yet I'm sat here with you now, we're having a laugh, having a smile, and having a cup of tea, and just chewing the fat, as it were. And it's so inspiring to listen to you just talk about that whole ability to push through all the challenges. So giving up and quitting is something that people do. It's a human nature thing sometimes, as we say. Some people just go, do you know what, I give up, I'm done. But can you give any advice to people just to go, do you know what, this is how you can get through it. You don't have to give up. You can just keep fighting and keep pushing away. And for me, is I always think of hope that there's going to be a better day. Hope that this is going to get better. I can work through it. Resilience. We talk about how can we learn resilience, and resilience is something that's so hard to learn, but it's something that you pick up along the way. You just know this is resilience. So can you give us is there anything you say to our students to go, this is my message, and how you don't have to give up and you keep fighting?
We're all a lot more capable of achieving the things we want to achieve than we think we are. And what I've learned is that when when I used to be like yomping for miles or running or whatever, or even on the rowing machine, when my head is telling me to quit, my body's only really halfway to being completely zapped out. And it's just a mental game. And I think we all need to realize a little bit that we're capable of a lot more than what we think we are, and what, disappointingly sometimes people tell us we are. But the biggest thing I've learned in life, and I'm going to be 37 next month, so I've had a bit of time on the planet, is failure. Failure to me is a lie. You know what I mean? Because we all fail at stuff. I've failed at stuff drastically, but the difference is that I don't look at it as failure. I look at it as something to learn from. So when I was learning to walk and I was setting my goals, if I didn't achieve them that day, I wouldn't cry about it. I would say, okay, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I achieve that? And then I go back the next day and I make the adjustments and I change it. It's just like a baby. This is a perfect analogy I had someone say a long time ago. When you're a baby and you're learning to walk, right, you get up and you fall on your ass. When you do that, a baby doesn't just go, you know what, I don't think this walking thing's really for me, so I'm just going to let someone they get some crack on. And then they keep doing it and they keep doing it and they learn and they keep doing it and they learn. And every day they learn a bit more until eventually they're running around all over the place. Yeah. They don't know. They haven't been exposed to, you know, the negativity of, oh, you can't do it, you're not good enough. They just get a little smile on their face and go, oh, that didn't work, let me try something different, until they get it. You know, we lose that somewhere along the line and we need to keep hold of it.
That's a really good analogy, that, and I like that, and that'll keep my brain ticking over for a few hours now. Is you're absolutely right. Is that, you know, a baby doesn't. A baby stands up, falls over and goes, all right, has a laugh about it, gets up, does it again, gets up and does it again. So eventually they're walking on. Yeah, sound, mate, absolutely sound. Mark, there's nothing else to say apart from wrap it up, and what an absolute thank you very much for taking your time out for my students at an SCL just to have this chat, and hopefully, you know, they can listen to it and be inspired in the same way as I'm inspired as an older, you know, a man older than you, just to look and go, that is an amazing story. So we always do like a shake of hands, so we can do one of them, like, so a little shake. There you go. We say goodbye and thank you so much, mate, for taking the time out. From me, from Mark, thank you very much, and bye.
Cheers, guys.